Forget fairy tales. Behind the glittering crowns and palaces, royal women lived in ways that would make you gag. From lice-filled wigs to childbirth in front of an audience, their lives were anything but glamorous. Today, we're diving into 5 disgusting hygiene secrets of royal women that history tried to perfume away. These are the stories your textbooks skipped because, trust me, once you know the truth, you'll never look at a crown the same way again. 1. The cleanliness curse, bathing. If you imagine queens soaking in rose petals or milk baths, prepare to be disappointed. In the 17th and 18th centuries, bathing was feared. Doctors claimed that warm water opened pores, allowing deadly miasmas or bad air to invade the body. Instead of soap and water, noble women wiped themselves down with vinegar, alcohol, or even saliva. Yes, you heard that right. A queen wiping her face with spit wasn't a scandal. It was routine. And when they did finally bathe, it was rarely private. Whole families often shared a single tub. The king bathed first, followed by noblemen, then children, and finally women. By the time a royal lady stepped in, the water looked and smelled more like a pot of soup than anything resembling cleanliness. At Versailles, visitors described the palace as a mix of perfume, sweat, mildew, and rotting wood. The more perfume they sprayed, the more it mixed with the stink. Behind every jewel and gown was a smell strong enough to make you faint. 2. The throne without toilets. The Palace of Versailles had over 700 rooms, but almost no toilets. That's right, a golden palace with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. But nowhere to go. Noble women often relied on chamber pots hidden under their massive gowns. During balls, some women would discreetly squat behind curtains, or even in the middle of a conversation, while servants looked away. And what happened to the waste? Servants simply dumped it out of windows, onto courtyards, gardens, and sometimes unlucky passers-by. Travelers described walking past Versailles only to be splattered by royal rain. Inside, corridors were littered with filth. Imagine walking in jeweled slippers while lifting your skirt to avoid piles of waste. Versailles wasn't the palace of the Sun King. It was a palace-sized toilet. 3. Crowned with crawlers, wigs. Royal hairstyles weren't just fashion statements. They were architectural nightmares. Wigs towered 2 feet high, packed with horsehair, animal fat, wire frames, and powder. But the fat attracted lice. Entire colonies lived inside these powdered towers. Noble women carried silver lice scratchers, poking at their itchy scalps during banquets while smiling through painted lips. Sometimes, wigs became so elaborate that women couldn't fit through doorways without bending. They slept sitting up to protect their styles, often wearing cages around their heads. And yes, wigs caught fire. With candles burning everywhere, it wasn't uncommon for a woman's head to burst into flames. One duchess fainted when servants discovered a bird's nest inside her wig. Fashion meant power, even if your hair doubled as a bug hotel. 4. Feasts of filth, food. Royal banquets looked divine. Golden trays stacked with pheasants, candied fruits, and exotic pastries. But the kitchens, they were crawling with danger. Sewage sometimes leaked into cooking areas. Meat was often half-rotten, and pests ran freely through pantries. Even when food looked beautiful, it was laced with bacteria. Royal women were expected to eat gracefully, but many battled stomach cramps, parasites, and food poisoning. King Louis XIV himself reportedly carried a tapeworm several feet long. If the king wasn't safe, imagine what the queens endured. Chroniclers wrote about noble women discreetly vomiting into lace handkerchiefs between dances, then returning to the ballroom with a smile. The glittering banquets were a feast for the eyes, but a slow poison for the body. Childbirth as a public spectacle. For royal women, childbirth wasn't private. It was a political event. Queens were expected to give birth in public, with entire rooms filled with courtiers, priests, midwives, and strangers. Why? To prevent baby swapping and ensure the heir was legitimate. Imagine screaming in labor, sweating, bleeding, while dozens of nobles watched as if it were a theater. Infections were rampant, tools weren't sanitized, and medical knowledge was limited. Survival rates were terrifyingly low. Queens often died giving birth, their deaths written off as the price of dynasty. Marie Antoinette herself nearly suffocated during childbirth, not from the labor alone, but because her chamber was so packed with courtiers that the air became suffocating. For royal women, bringing life into the world often meant stepping one foot into death. 6. Rotten teeth and deadly cosmetics. Sugar was the height of luxury, but it destroyed royal teeth. Queens were known to have blackened, rotting smiles. Queen Elizabeth I lost so many teeth that she could barely chew. Instead of fixing the problem, blackened teeth became a twisted fashion statement. Women painted their decayed teeth even darker to hide the rot. Cosmetics were no safer. Lead-based face powders gave women a ghostly complexion, but slowly poisoned them. The so-called mask of youth caused baldness, rotting gums, and sometimes death. Beauty was deadly, but vanity demanded it. 7. Perfume over filth. Since real cleanliness was rare, perfume became the illusion. Women drenched themselves in heavy floral scents, hoping to disguise the reality. But perfume didn't erase filth, it only layered over it. Courtiers joked that walking into a royal ballroom was like entering a flower shop built on top of a sewer. Behind every jeweled gown and painted smile was lice, rot, parasites, and disease. The royal dream was nothing but a grotesque masquerade. So next time you picture a royal ball, don't imagine chandeliers and graceful queens. Picture perfume-drenched gowns hiding filth, wigs crawling with lice, golden halls doubling as toilets, and queens forced to perform childbirth before an audience. Royalty wasn't glamorous, it was grotesque. And the truth smells a lot worse than the fairy tales. So, after hearing these grotesque royal truths, what shocked you the most? Was it the lice-infested wigs, the filthy banquets, or the public childbirths? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you want more dark tales hidden behind crowns and thrones, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next twisted chapter of history.